That is the worst car. Short of a Yugo. That is the worst car ever designed.
You're listening to the Get Out and Drive podcast with John, custom car nerd Meyer, and Jason, old car guy Carr. We'll be bringing you gearheads everything you never wanted to know about cars and why they should be on the road and not in your garage. Are you ready to get out and drive?
We want you to ride along with the Get Out and Drive podcast.
Pitch in some gas money to help keep the Get Out and Drive podcast on the road.
Pitch in any amount you want, but if you fill our tank with a $10 subscription, we'll send you free stickers from the Get Out and Drive podcast, Old Car Guy, STL Pinstripes, and Racing Jump as a thank you.
Find links in the show notes and at getoutanddrive.com.
So I did have something I wanted to run by you, John.
Yes.
So I know that you know cars, and I know that you know details about cars that are most people just don't know.
You pronounce ridiculous and stupid and useless wrong.
I'm sorry. If you were to have the ugliest Thunderbird ever to exist, what year would it be?
Oh man, hands down, 1968 through 70.
Yes, it is. Of course it is, because they were four-door suicide doors. They had that ugly snout on them. But what was the one thing that came on a 1965 Thunderbird that was the absolute best thing to ever happen to a car? Name it. What engine?
Oh, what engine?
What engine?
An FE?
429.
Well, yeah, the FE is a 429. That stands for friggin' enormous. I may break a few hearts, and I don't care, but that is the worst car. Short of a Yugo, that is the worst car ever designed. And I'm even saying that is the worst car, the worst looking car I've ever seen, even after a 58 Packard.
So
or a 58 Studebaker, because that is some stuck on platypus looking. They have to be the people that designed a 58 Studebaker. It's a platypus, by the way. And that car, those people are the fathers and grandfathers of the absolute goofballs that designed cars, Chrysler, in the 60s and 70s. I said it.
Are you talking?
Let the hate mail pour in. Go ahead.
Are you talking about the AMC that looks like it got punched in the lip?
Well,
like
if you consider, if you can, yes, well, if you consider a Studebaker and a Packard and everything AMC, because we all know what AMC stands for, it's all makes combined.
Yes.
It's just everything, absolutely everything. And that is, AMC is just the platypus of vehicle makes. So let's go there. And why were you asking me about Thunderbird anyway?
Well, we totally got sidetracked on that one, didn't we?
I don't care.
Here's what I'm getting at.
Okay.
The whole point is that you take the ugliest car in existence in 1965 and you put the biggest, most impressive power plant in this car.
You say impressive, meaning impressive amount of
space.
But horsepower did not happen.
No, it did not. But
that thing couldn't get out of its own way.
Sure, but we're pre-smog in an ugly car. So if said car was a 30,000 mile car and in decent condition, driver condition.
Yes.
What's the value on something like that?
What is the and you want to say a value of that car? I mean, it's probably worth 30 grand if it has 50 grand in the glove box.
Hang on.
I mean, because you have to hack your way past the ugliness of the car to get the money. It is disgusting. I mean, in my eyes, unless it's painted like Larry Watson's purple and silver Thunderbird, they stopped making good looking Thunderbirds in 57.
Thunderbirds never should have been a four-door.
That's correct. When they went from little birds to four-seaters, I mean, that's when I hear the music from The Price is Right, that boom, 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 where
Okay,
I hear the music and it's terrible. But anyway, go on ahead.
So without saying that John was right, We both could agree that
Because
1967 was an
because
ugly
John was
car.
right. You can say it. Go ahead. I'm
No, I
sorry.
can't. I will not. 1967 was an ugly car. Nevertheless, I
Uh-huh.
have the ability right now to pick one of these cars up. 67 4-door 429.
Did you lose a bet?
Nope. As Bad Chad would say, in my brain, I'm thinking that what the fella is asking for the car
Okay.
quite possibly could be the value of one of these engines to the right buyer.
Okay.
There's a lot of Ford guys out there, diehard Ford guys that are looking for these
Right.
big 429 engines. Of course, they want the big boss engine out of the Mustangs and the Cobras
Right.
and stuff like that.
Right.
But would they be interested in buying this engine for their standard V6 or V8 Mustang? I guess they didn't have V6.
I'm guessing any FE is a good FE. I mean, the only thing better than an FE is an MEL. You know what MEL stands for?
I do
I mean,
not.
correctly, Mercury, Edsel, Lincoln.
Okay.
And that's starting, you know, it is very similar to a 352, you know, big block, but MEL is Mercury,
So
Edsel, Lincoln.
FE was Ford Edsel.
No, FE doesn't have any other
Doesn't have any
connotation.
Ford,
I don't
just a name.
believe Ford FE has any connotation other than FE. And what I said earlier stands for friggin' enormous. But
So
that's fine. But is your hypothetical only a face my mother could love Thunderbird? Is it low mileage?
it is. It's like 30,000 mile.
Well, I wouldn't rip it apart if it's 30,000 miles.
No,
I mean,
so here's where we're going with this.
It's got the engine's not been running forever. I mean, is it currently running car?
It will bottle feed, so it will
Well,
run.
there you go.
Uh,
I think that it would be worth more. There's a lover of Thunderbirds that are 4-doors with hideaway headlights, and I think it'd probably be better as a shoe shine and flip than ripping the engine out of it because it's a low horsepower FE.
So here's our train of thought. I've spoke to you before about changing direction of our used car dealership
Yes.
and looking for certain flips.
Yes.
Now, somebody of my dad's experience may look at a 67 Ford Thunderbird and think, wow, what a great car. And there's probably 110,000 other guys my age that would love to have that car. And I look at it and I can't get over how ugly it is, leaving it to me a lot less desirable. So if a fella could pick that car up for $2,500 Canadian, that's like $1,900 US.
Okay.
Bring it back, like you said, spit, shine, polish, get it running under its own power.
Yes.
Is there a market for that car to make
Yes.
significant dollars?
Yes. And we can use our trusty little black rectangle, and we can go to Haggerty.com, and they have vehicle values. And after I accept all cookies, boop, average condition as a number 3 car, $14,000.
American.
Yeah, that's US. Yes. That's not metric money.
Times 1.32 loonies. That's $18,500, man.
Right. So we'll go there. I mean, most recent sale of that car of an average 4-door Thunderbird is $8,000. With the value of these vehicles, and those, it depends on the options, but most of them were high option cars, hideaway headlights, power steering, power brakes, power door locks, power windows. They were usually jammed with everything you could possibly jam into a car because they were trying to stuff this ugly luxury car down our throats. I think it'd be a very good car, especially if it has low mileage. And if you have remote documentation of low mileage or any kind of paperwork that says that can verify, provenance of low mileage, I think you could push that, and I think it would sell.
Well, I think you've changed my mind, John, that I've got to look at used antique vehicles from a different perspective. It's not always about what I think. It's about the perceived, or it's about the perception of the potential buyers looking at these things.
Yes.
If I could get this thing bought, cleaned up, polished, and sell it for 8,000 US, I'd be more than happy. But we've got to get it bought. We've got to get it here before we can do anything. And if you guys are listening to this and you want to follow along some of these ventures of buying cars and cleaning them up and getting them ready, make sure you stay tuned, because we're going to be posting some of these videos up on our YouTube channel, and also on my own YouTube channel for in-depth, longer form content. And we'll just see, start to finish, what happens to these cars when we buy them, get them cleaned up, and get them sold. John, I appreciate your input.
Oh, I voluntarily give my input to some people. It's like sometimes they just have to hear what I say, and it's their fault for sitting down next to me for long enough that I could tell them.
I'm just glad I don't have to have supper with you every night.
Well, that's true. I was taught not to talk with my mouth full, so my wife just keeps feeding me. And remember, even if we have some listeners that are new to our podcast, the only reason that we have a podcast is so other people get to listen to what I have to ramble on about, and not just my immediate family.
And folks, you don't even have to pay for this subscription. So you're going to get a lot of free information, whether you like it or you don't.
Yeah, that's exactly correct. Jason, just for fun, I'm going to log into my account on barrettjackson.com, and I'm going to see what a current four-door Thunderbird sold for. Stand by.
And while John's doing that, folks, if you were to run over to racingjunk.com right now and see what they had for Ford Thunderbirds, you'd see that they had 18 of them listed right now. Unfortunately, they don't have a 67 that we can compare, but there's 18 Ford Thunderbirds there. Head on over to racingjunk.com. You can also get rid of yours.
And you know how much prices have increased in the past few years.
Oh, yes.
Okay. Let's just randomly go to Barrett Jackson, look for a 67 Ford Thunderbird four-door hardtop. Sold, no reserve, in 2016 for $14,300.
And that's in 2016 prices.
That's in 2016. Multiply that times the current surge in general surge in pricing. You'll see where I'm at. And that's a 3-second search.
For sure. For sure. So I guess the big thing is to get myself, one of the big things that I'm finding is that the US and the Canadian markets are so different, not just with late model vehicles, but with antiques and hot rods and muscle cars and trucks and all this stuff. So having those available, and like you said, it's a 2-second search
Yes.
on all these different sites to find out what some of the values are. And that's my target audience. For those of you who don't know, Canada is a population of 36 million people. The US has 10 times that, and such a much larger market, a lot more people to sell to. And when you're dealing in antique vehicles, folks, getting vehicles across the border it's a breeze. There's really nothing to it. As long as you've got a title and a bill of sale, you are good to go. So don't worry about that. It's the same thing when we're buying cars in the US. That's something that we're going to be looking at doing too, is doing a little bit of traveling and going down there. So yeah, I appreciate the help. I appreciate the input. If you guys want to hear some of these stories, let us know. Head on over to our website, getoutandrive.com, hit our listener hotline, and tell us what you'd like us to talk about on some of these episodes. We'd love to hear from you.
Jason, current pricing right now on classiccars.com, which is a Barrett Jackson owned site, which is also Auto Hunter.
Okay.
Which we write for. 67 Thunderbird right now, 15.5 for sale. 67 Thunderbird, 16.9. 67 Thunderbird, 18.6. I could go on and on. Not a loser.
So not a loser at $2,500.
No, sir. I think a little bit of polish and some love, and know what you have in it, and stick it on. And we can even put it on classiccars.com, or we could put it on Auto Hunter,
Racing Junk.
a Racing Junk, whatever. Auto Hunter has a all the stuff that we write. They have auctions. Bring a trailer, that type of stuff. And I'm seeing easy. I'm not seeing anything that's below $12,000 at all.
Well, we'll have to get there and take a look at it. We're just going by the information we gathered on a phone call.
Sure.
From the son of the 90-year-old man that owns the car.
Sure.
So if a 90-year-old man owns a 67 Thunderbird,
it's not been fooled with. That's probably the best thing.
And with only 30,000 miles on it, chances are the chances are very high he may be the original owner.
That's very possible.
So we've got to get that stuff and
if you have any way to get a vehicle like that or anything that's low mileage, always get anything that shows provenance of the car. Like any receipts, paperwork, anything that shows in 1978 the thing had 17,000 miles on it, or whatever.
Yeah,
something that shows provenance on the mileage, because that will drive the price up.
Oh, sure.
So, yeah, especially if it is original owner, especially if you have a warranty card with his name on it, and anything, just absolutely anything like that shows provenance. And I'm not just talking about that vehicle, any vehicle.
Yeah.
So,
well, and this one's is quite special, one-off. I had a hard time accepting the fact that we even wanted to go look at it, just because would never have any desire to ever even ride in one of those things, let alone own one.
No, I most of them have low mileage for one reason. It's because the owners never wanted anybody to see them in it.
Are we still recording, Paul?
That's why most of those Thunderbirds are found with low mileage. They're great cars.
Yeah.
They're just the owner never wanted to be seen in it.
So, as a side note as well, my wife's uncle on her father's side lives right here in town, and
Sure.
He has one. I don't know what year it is. It is a 4-door.
Yeah.
Did they make them for just a couple of years?
67, 8, 9, 70 is vague to me.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
Anyways, his is even worse because it's green with the black Landau roof or whatever vinyl roof.
Yes.
And he's even got the little. Did they all have that little friggin' funeral coach little?
Those are Landau bars.
Oh my!
But yes.
Like,
well, that helps that you can have people hold on to those while they're pushing it when it breaks down.
Are we going to the A&W drive-in like in a hearse? Like, is that the point that we're trying to make? Like, I want to be a funeral director, but I can't afford a coach, so I'm going to drive the 67 Thunderbird.
Yes.
With these handrails on the side. Oh my God.
Right. Just put running boards on the side of it, and you could have the Secret Service run along next to you.
Yes.
Well, that's all. That's what it's all about. You thought it was the hokey pokey? It's not. That's what it's all about. Yep. Of the absolute stupid cars from the Malaise era, I really, really, really want a 70. I think they're 75, 77. A Pontiac Can-Am. That is the most decal horsepower, underpowered 115 horsepower V8 Malaise era smog controlled mess of a vehicle. It's ridiculous. It's just like having like a 78 Volare Roadrunner. It's just decal horsepower. I'm sorry.
Were they an H body? Like, were they Vegas or?
No. It was a full size.
It was basically a Grand Prix with decals.
It is, but they're shaker hood, 455 tail, but they're 100% decal horsepower, malaise era.
So it is an A body car.
It is an A-body car, just malaise era foolishness, 5-mile-an-hour bumpers, everything you never wanted in a car. But I like them because of the shaker hood, because of the stripes, because of it is absolutely everything. It's trying to be a muscle car, but it's a disco muscle car, and it is a terrible car.
Yeah, let's not forget the louvers on the quarter windows.
That's correct. Color keyed sport mirrors and the trunk lid spoiler and all that jazz. It's gross, but it's fun. I think it's 77, 78. Again, I'd have to look it up. We're going in the depths of John's mind. We have a wheel flares, very NASCAR inspired petty blue Volare.
Yeah, Aspen RT.
Yes, that's correct.
Aspen RT had the flares. There's one of those here in town.
That's correct. Yeah, there was a black one with orange stripes that was running around where I lived. But they made some that were petty blue, wheel opening moldings, RT, had all the RT dress, but it was the Richard Petty edition with a giant 43 on the side of it.
Nice. I'd drive that.
That is, again, a terrible car.
Yep.
But
I'd drive it.
I mean, it's just NASCAR inspired. That thing is badass. Decal horsepower the whole way. Disco muscle car. It is a mess of a car. But in my eyes, of the malaise era, that's top of the heap.
And for the record, I resemble that remark about the Yugo. I'm just saying.
Oh, I bet. I mean, if a Yugo runs out of power, you just pull it back till it clicks, right? And then you can more.
And you just let it go.
Well, right. You rub that thing on the carpet. Rub it on the carpet. It runs all day. I saw, it was a long time ago, they had some sort of like a car show, the auto show here in St. Louis. And I think it was probably around 93, 94. And they had Yugos and they gave them to art students and they turned them on their side and they made telephone booths out of them. One person made a big giant telephone out of it. They split one in half and they made one look like a sandwich. They just did all sorts of crazy things to these Yugos. And I thought that was pretty much like the best thing for them. I'm fine with that, running them through the shredder, making Chinese hammers out of them. But that's just me. Other people like that type of vehicle. Some people may not have taste.
You're an ass.
Hey, look, man, if we all like the same thing, there wouldn't be enough to go around.
No, that's right.
So, I mean, that's fine. I drive a Maverick, and I get it. And I'd love to trade my Maverick for a Mustang 2 Cobra. Again, malaise era garbage. All right, well, let's wrap this up because I'll end up talking all night.
Cruise on over to our website, getoutanddrive.com, for all the info you never wanted to know about our podcast. Hit us up on our listener hotline, be the first to know what's happening, get industry news, and grab your Get Out and Drive merch. Connect with us on social media. Find us on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Follow us on Twitter at Get Out and Drive Pod.
Oh, you're correct. Yeah, because I was thinking that when it was...
Sorry, I didn't catch that last little bit you said there.
That you were right?
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Well, yeah, you were right. I'm not underneath saying you're right. That's just your problem.
No, the difference between you and me is that you're always right.
Oh, wow. All right. Pointing to the cheap seats. I see.
Pretty much.
Got it.
What drives you?